Celtics Magic was interesting because there was no Tatum. And I did feel like you could feel that for the Celtics throughout the entirety of the game. They just had to go to different things in order to find offense. Like their offense just looked entirely different to me. So much of what they do is built on mismatch hunting with both Jalen and Jason. Having two of those guys out there who are athletic, physical, strong, can get different opportunities to score against multiple different player types. The good news was Jalen was fantastic in this game. He had 36 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. I thought that he really stepped up in an enormous way without Jason Tatum on the court. Goes 12 of 19 from the field, 5 of 7 from 3, got to the line, was great. I thought Porzingis was great. He only made 5 of 14, but he got to the line 14 times and went for 20 and 10 in this game. It was enormous. They also ran out. Really, the key stretch to me in this game was they ran out a 2-3 zone in the second quarter with both Luke Cornett and KP out there on the court together, something they just have not done a lot of this year. Like they've only played that duo 145 minutes together this season. And the Magic just had no idea how to score against that zone. It felt like to me, they didn't, it was like late first, early second, like they just had no idea what to do. And that felt like to me kind of the defining stretch of the game almost, where I think it was like 21-20 or something Magic. And then, throughout that stretch, early in the second quarter, think that Orlando eventually got it to like 35-26, 37-26, something like that, and really just kind of stretched it out. And from that point, it was kind of over. I loved the 2-3 adjustment with the two bigs, though. I thought it was really smart.
No, I was just going to say, I do love watching for that within a game when coaches pull out the zones, when they don't, what lineups they do it in. I think every coach in the NBA should be doing something with their defensive adjustment after timeout. Like if you've been playing drop, then that's the possession to switch it up and blitz it, or whatever. If you've been blitzing it, then switch it or go zone, or just do something after timeout that they've drawn up a play, or press that one time, whatever it is. It's just really fun watching when coaches decide to use it, how much it works, how much it doesn't, how long they stay with it. I laugh though, because I think about this Magic team, and if I wanted to find a couple players that I think could be really good against the middle of a zone, Orlando has two of the players that would very quickly come to mind in Franz Wagner and Paolo Banchero, who I think could just eat a zone alive. But the problem is they don't have any floor spacing around them, so it ends up not mattering how good those guys are against man or zone or anything else.
So my takeaway from this game was honestly that I think Orlando is a lot closer to being really good than what the hope is, right? Their offense is a disaster to watch. It is truly absolutely miserable. There's very little movement. There is no shooting. There's very little skill out there outside of Paulo and Franz. All due respect to Corey Joseph, who is, a great third guard in the NBA to have. He's been starting for Orlando for I think 2 months now, it feels like.
Yeah.
And then you have KCP, who's not been very good offensively this year, and Wendell Carter, who's skilled but limited. And then it's John Isaac, Goga Batadze. I mean, Cole Anthony barely played tonight. Anthony Black was, I don't know, their fourth best offensive player tonight. It's just not a whole lot there. But here is what I do want to talk about with Orlando. I think that where I'm at with Paulo is that this is a guy that I want. Not just this is a guy that, I think is obviously a good player and everything, and, an all-star and all that. I actually think he is a significant player in the NBA. And the reason for that is the way that he is able to create mismatches in the playoffs and then either pass off of it or make decisions. The issue for him right now is he's just not a good enough scorer. Once he figures out the scoring, And by scoring, I mean shooting particularly. He just does not shoot the ball well enough yet to where it is fully consistent. But once, like, I would assume he's going to get better as a shooter. He's like 22 years old. If he takes just like one more jump as a shooter, he is like a perennial all NBA player to me. And the playoffs are where you see this most. He can play in any style of game. He can play in a game where it's well spaced and he's able to get to the rim by driving and attacking. He can play in a game that's super tight. He can play against defenses that switch him. He can play against defenses that play and drop. If you blitz him, he's a good enough passer to deal with that. He's just so versatile in the way that he can attack. It's just that he's not quite a good enough shooter yet. Assuming that's going to come along, I mean, like what we saw tonight was like genuinely like pretty special to me. 32 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists, 0 turnovers. It was like some of the passes he was throwing, like he threw this look away to Goga where I was on the phone with somebody and I just went, oh my God, like loudly into the phone.
Yeah.
Like it was, man, he is the kind of player that elevates in the playoffs to me. And look, like I love Franz as much as anybody. Like I think he's a real dude and I think that he's going to be an all-star. We'll talk about Franz in a second because that shot is getting uglier and uglier by the day, it feels like. But I mean, Paolo's the guy here. Like you see it every single time in the playoffs that Paolo is the guy.
Real early on in my game theory days, I got called out by Magic fans because I said that Paolo was their best player. And I felt it then. I feel like it's true now. I wasn't doing draft stuff crazy that year, but I loved Paolo. I remember writing it out. I thought he could be the hub of your offense type of player. His playoff numbers are silly. He's played 9 playoff games, including tonight. He has 5 30-point games. He's had double-digit rebound games, multiple. Tonight was his best in terms of box score assists, and he had no turnovers tonight. In his last, what would be 3 of his last 4 games, he's had double-digit free throw attempts. He is a handful because he's so dang strong and physical on his drives. And when he is making jump shots, it's really hard to guard him. I think he can pass. You would want like a secondary guy, of course, with him, somebody that can initiate offense and stuff like that. I'm not saying he's like going to be the dribble it down, set up offense, isolate you, Luka type of primary initiator, but I think he can be a hub of your offense. He can be the focus of your offense. Yeah. And listen, I think Franz is perfect for him outside of the shooting because Franz is a top 3, top 5 off ball cutter in the NBA. I mean, one of the best. And that plays perfectly off like Paolo in the mid post and draws eyes and then Franz cuts and all of that. I think those two guys fit really well together. But to me, as you said, I think it starts with Paolo and he's been really impressive. 2 30-point games already in this series.
Yeah, so Paolo coming into tonight averaged 28, 9, and 4, shooting 47, 43, 75. In his playoff run. I mean, that is silly. Like he is the level to which he is able to create mismatches and play in tight confines and get to reasonable shots. As soon as the shot starts falling at a slightly better clip, it's going to be impossible to deal with him. Like I think that I will hear out Magic fans that say that because Paolo's shot is not quite there yet, that Franz can be a slightly more impactful player right now. But the difference between the two long term is that like there is just like one very small thing that Paolo will likely fix that will make him just like impossible to deal with. Whereas Franz like is, I mean, that shot is, I don't know what to do with it. It looks worse every time that he takes it to me. And then I like start to look at like the ones that go in. And to me, like the gather is the real issue. Like he's trying to like, it's almost like he's trying to find it a little bit during the gather. But then the ones that go in, like the elbow is like right underneath. and it looks really clean. So like I don't like the release itself is clean. The shot is a mess. Like, but it comes out of his hand pure a lot of the time when it goes in, and it's just like I just don't understand. Like, I don't know if he's tinkering. I don't know if like somebody around him is tinkering. The Magic are tinkering with it. I can't tell what it is, but it's something. It's very, very much something that he has to like get through.
I've done this recently because somebody tweeted it out. All of my notes mention it. Every single Magic game mentions it. Every single one. It's like, why is he throwing it way out in front of his body? Why is it hitching? Why is it? And then it's like, the numbers don't hold this. I was actually looking it up. I had in one of my notes that I was like, maybe he shoots better over a guarded attempt because it forces like the gather, like the way he brings the ball up to be different. Maybe he has to be quicker. Maybe he has to like, but that's not true. The numbers don't back that up. So I have no idea. It looks, I think the biggest issue is it always looks different. I think that in itself is an issue. The more I'm around this, I mean, watching the Indiana Pacers today and Tyrese Halliburton, it's like, yes, you would love picture perfect form, but there's a bunch of different ways to be successful shooting a basketball. At this point, I think Franz just has to choose one and live with it. Like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to rep it all off season. And whether I start 0 for 100 or 100 for 100, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my career and just rock with it, because trying to tinker with it every off season within season is, if that happened, that's a disastrous decision. In my opinion, he just got to pick and roll with it, because he can't keep it's crazy. And it is a huge hole in his game, because I love everything he does inside the lane, the footwork, the finesse, the nuance, the touch, playing angles, glass, the defense, all of it. Love Franz. Like, I wasn't taking a shot at Franz earlier. I just love Paolo, but the shot, he's got to find it. He's got to figure something out to at least be reasonable in that area.
Yeah, someone asked, if Paolo and Franz are so good, why is the Magic offense so anemic? I mean, just look who's around them. Like, genuinely, like, that's the issue. KCP, like, sneaky, that has been one of the worst moves of the offseason. Just point blank. Like, that is a mess of a deal. Like, paying him $22 million. Then a lot of time, like, they play them with like Jonathan Isaac and, you know, Goga Batadze, who I love like defensively, but is not really an offensive player. Like, Caleb Houston played 11 minutes tonight. I don't think Caleb Houston is an NBA caliber player. I just don't. Anthony Black can't shoot. Like, none of these guys can shoot. That is the thing that they need to fix.
They're 30th in 3-point percentage, Sam. That's why. Like, if there's one thing we've learned, is shooting is a floor raiser for offenses. And I'll give you the example. You know who was really bad in offensive rating last season, even though they had a really good player that people are now finding out about? The Detroit Pistons were 27th in offensive rating, just like the Magic are 27th in offensive rating. The Pistons were 26th in 3-point percentage last year. And nobody, like, Cade's not that good, right? Well, now they're even just being 17th in 3-point percentage gets them to 16th in offensive rating, and Cade Cunningham is an all NBA player. Like, I'm not saying it's the end all be all, but shooting and floor spacing is a floor raiser for your offense. And that's why, because they can't make shots. Yeah.
And like, again, when I say that, like, I think Paolo is going to be a dude here, like within the next few years, I mean, like, I think he's going to be like a top 7 or 8 guy in the league is kind of where I'm at after these early playoff performances for him. Like, once the, you know, the like LeBrons, the KDs, the Stephs, the, you know, Kawhis, like all those guys, like kind of Jimmy Butler, like those guys are going to filter out of the league here within the next 3 or 4 years. Paolo is going to be a serious problem for everybody moving forward. And that's where I'm most interested to see where his peak is. And I think it's going to be really high after seeing these playoff runs.
And I want to be clear, and we did talk about this, Paolo and Franz are part of the 3-point shooting issues as well. Paolo was 32% in the regular season. Franz was 30% in the regular season. So
yeah,
they are part of the issue themselves, but we called that out from the start on both of them. So that's an area of growth and an important area for both players.